The Central Club.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Haven Alarms, Vortex Competitions, Weekend Defender and Re-Inspire Printing. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. We are back for certain. This is like the fourth guest now in a week or so. So we can say that we are officially back on the Central Club podcast. The summer is now finished and I promise you we are going to be back consistent as ever. And I am really excited to get into this interview. We've got a very special guest. These are my favorite type of interviews. Those ones that, you know, they go through adversity. They've had a tough time. They've got a lot of wisdom to share from their experiences, but they're also hugely inspiring. And it's almost like a call to action as well. Like they want to put that story out there, not just to celebrate it, but also these people are looking to actively help others. And this podcast is hopefully a call out of all those things: inspiration, raising awareness, but also can you help this person progress even more and eventually help others as well. So I met this guy through a good friend of mine, Kyle Cudgedon TV, Kyle Cullen, as you know, if you know him. He's never been on our podcast. He actually has, but as a 2-second cameo when we interviewed Ginge from Shard End back last year. This year, he was on the Central Club doing the vlog in Clifton Street with us. But we will get him on the podcast sometime soon. But if you don't know who Kyle Cullen is, he is a massive inspiration. He's a big character in his community of Tremorfa, Splot, Adamsdown, that kind of way of Cardiff. And, you know, he's just like me. Just like a lot of us, he's had a past. He's not afraid to talk about it. He's not afraid to shy away from any conversations about his past. But what he does now is priceless. You know, he does so much for the communities. He is someone who I would call, if there was a problem in that area or anywhere in Cardiff, I would rely on Kyle Cudgy to sort it out rather than a politician. All right, and that's sad in a way. But also it's great that we got people like that in the community. And what Kyle has done over the last couple of years is a boxing promotion called Road Rumbles. And with Road Rumbles, it's kind of, you know, self-explanatory. People who got issues on the road, you know, in the communities, fight it out in a boxing ring. Don't use violence on the streets, gang violence, weapons. You know, settle in a boxing ring and shake hands after. And I think that's fantastic. And he's been quite successful for it. A lot of people would have doubted him and probably after the first one thought that is it. He has done multiple of these now and every single one of them is growing. And today we have got such an inspirational guest who has found his way through Road Rumbles as well. I met him through Kyle. His name is Kalonji Ford. And I warmly welcome today.
Hello. Thank you for having me on here.
That's okay, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Nervous right now, but yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
Well, look, it's the first time we've met. I don't know a great deal, but what I've been told through Kyle, and now from having a brief chat with you today, you know, you've been through a lot in your life. Mm-hmm. But you all you promote is positivity, and I can feel the good vibes off you, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to get into this conversation. And I think the best thing we can do is just tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from.
Okay.
And
go
what
from
you
there.
did today.
Well, I started in Tremorfa, Clifton Street in Splot, and was adopted into a mixed race family, which took me up west, which was quite a blessing, really. Because you got the hills and the valleys of West Wales and took me up to the city. So the really good education. Strict mind because of the Jehovah Witness boundaries that I grew up in. And then from there, run away at 16 to join the army, Royal Welsh Fusiliers, which was, we were talking about polarities earlier. So going from one strict religion into one then institute that really embodied what it is to be a man and a soldier. And lucky enough for me, I was out within 4 years and didn't have to shoot a gun in anger. And since then, I've been a father for chasing and building that family. And that all came to an end 3-4 years ago. Sharp, abrupt end. And that's when my story with Kudji, that's where it started really, with the first road to Rumbles. Due to domestic violence, I had to leave my family home, which took me to sheltered accommodation and in a hotel, rebuilding from scratch. 14 years in a family life, I left with my tools. Two of the oldest kids did come with me to the hotel, but what you do when you've got nothing at all to do, and this is where Kudji, gave me an opportunity to fight on Road to Rumbles. And that opportunity gave me direction at my lowest point in life. When I had nothing, I had something to focus on. The fight was 3 months away. And then there was another fight 3 months away. So whilst I say in a dark place, no, whilst I had the platform of nothing to begin from, I had the community of Cardiff and the community that Kudji opened up to me through Road to Rumbles to keep a little light at the end of the tunnel for me to work my way out of it. 3 fights later, I'm out of the hotel, right? All of a sudden, I've got that drive, I've got the aspirations to keep going. And, with a bit of discipline and hard work, I'm home for my children. And now 3 years later, I'm here sat here talking to you. So a little catalyst of something really small a long time ago now has built up into a spark of something that I really want to pass on to the rest of our community at home at Cardiff, because over the last 3 years, male suicide at the moment, during those young ages between 18 and 24, if not 16 and 24, they're really vulnerable times for men within our community, and the aspirations versus the reality of the situation men find themselves in, young men, is really hard for them to break cycles or even know the possibility that they're capable of doing something more. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to fill a void in society that's going to be able to give men and women as well. It's not just for men. We want the whole of our youngsters to have the confidence to know what actually this isn't right for me. I'm capable of doing something about it. Inside me is the strength. I can dig deep. Today might be a bad day, but tomorrow the sun comes back up and I get to do something about it.
Yeah, it truly is a story of just. When I hear stories like this, I truly do buzz off them. People write themselves off too easily. I'm sure you've written yourself off every now and then during part of your life, maybe.
It's sometimes it's right at the closest point before you get the breakthrough is that you break, right? Or that you've had enough. And if only you just kept going that a little bit longer, or if only I just keep doing this.
Yeah.
And this is where I always think that I'm lucky, because I had that army background from 16 to 21, right? And the grit and the determination and the discipline, but also the self-pride and the ideology of being able to, doesn't matter how deep you go into there's always a way out, as long as you wake up in the morning, you sort your kit out, you do your admin, you take care of the basics, and before you know it, the momentum of the day keeps going and going and going, and you've taken yourself from this point of view all the way to by there. And it sometimes you don't even know which direction you're going in, but you're doing something, And the army gave me that drive to do it. And unfortunately, the army does lead to war, and that's not that's really, especially in this day and age, what are you fighting for? So I'm not promoting the army. What I'm promoting here is the values that I was given from the army at a young age.
But why? The really sad thing is, yes, the army is good for that. Well, why aren't we teaching this regardless of conscription, regardless of national service? Why aren't we promoting this positive outlook on living and treating others with respect and dignity and being a success? Why ain't we promoting this? Why aren't we teaching this anyway?
But that's exactly where I'm at. That void at the moment, youngsters within our community with no aspirations, drugs, money, Snickers, flash cars. That seems to be actually the dream, to get out of somewhere, to get out of the situation they're in. Well, as a community, if we was able to implement those men and give them different drives and open different opportunities for them, then all of a sudden we're going to upgrade the whole of our society, right?
Yeah.
In the right way. And that takes people like you, myself, Kaji, people who believe in their own community to give back and lead the rite of passage, which is what I'm trying to build here, is leveling up. The right age group I would like to get to is 16 to 24. A lot of broken families, a lot of young men that have been brought up by mothers, and they've done a great job, but they're missing that good masculine man in their life. They don't really know what they're capable of, right? 18 years of age, young, full of all testosterone, but don't really know what it's like to have been in that flight or fright scenario. They only live in today's flight or flight, which text messages, social media, letters from the bank, bills. Well, your life's not really a danger, right? And they're a constant supply. So you're always in this flight or flight system, right? Well, the rite of passage that I've come up with is actually getting out into ecotherapy, using the land, our land, the valleys of Wales, to actually go abseiling. Get scared, find your edge, right? And go over that. Even though you're scared, still do the abseil, right? Meet that edge, find out what you're capable of. And then when you get to the bottom, look up and see the jubilation on your face that actually, I was scared at the top of that, but I still did that. And look at me now. And what's that saying? You can take the valley out the boy, we can't take the boy out the valley. Well, why don't we use the countryside around us to upgrade the people around us? It's free. It's there. It's free, right?
And when you speak to, I've seen podcasts with like the biggest SAS guys going, and they say Wales is the hardest and the best place to train, and we got it on our doorsteps.
It's there for free. When I did my training for my rock climbing instructing, I had to get experience, right, really quickly. So, and I'd go on UK climbing, find out where I was, and just pull up a crag near me. I'd turn up with my kit and climb. And there's like over 500 different crags. Think of the quarries that are in Wales that are all there, available for us to climb on, all available for us to use. We've got Brecon with the best river gorge walking river, the Taff, the beaches that we've got around here for cold water therapy. You've got the Seven Falls up in.
Well, I say Wales, especially South Wales, or any of them really. But I look at Wales like a Grand Theft Auto map.
Oh, 100%.
We have all the seasons. You face one way, you've got the seas. You turn that way, you've got the mountains. Mm-hmm. Turn this way, it's raining. Turn that way, it's like its own ecosystem.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny you say the ecosystem. That's something that I've had to learn now doing the rock climbing instructing. And in Wales, in Brecon, we have some of the only ecosystems on the planet. And I would never have known that if I hadn't have gone down this line. But you say Wales is a rainforest, and it's there to, if we use it right, it could be what we need to level up our society, because it's not money-based, it's not stature-based. It's there for everybody and anybody to utilise, but to then grow in confidence.
Well, everyone does the climb to Pen y Fan and gets the photo, and I'm not knocking that because it's something positive. But I think sometimes it's used for the gratification of social media rather than actually climbing up a mountain and feel good about yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
It's great that you do it. Let's try and make other things normal and cool. And what's the word? It's something we should be doing. Like mandatory.
Yeah, normalising it.
Yeah, normalising it.
Yeah, normalising it. It's not an Instagram post. It's not just for what do you say?
For the gram.
No, it's not. At the end of the day, it's there for personal well-being. And it's there to, have you done men's circles, when you're walking and talking, that's when you come alive.
There's an interesting girl who's looking to start her own podcast here in our studios. Just a little plug there if anyone wants to. But really interesting. She's all about like retreats and spirituality and stuff. And she says we've got all these people who wants to go to Bali and they want to go to all these places in Asia to do these spiritual retreats. When the Celtic grounds we live on, the Welsh land is some of the most spiritual places you could be.
That's what my journey's brought me. So over my own personal development through well-being has led me down a spiritual path, right? You've got the Druids, the Celtic Druids, 3,000 years old, right?
You only got to walk at places like Brecon and you can imagine a Druid coming out of the field,
screaming at you, right? It's screaming at you. But it's all about the land. When we look at what spirituality means as well, and, I or one love, so it all comes back down to the land. And here in Wales, we've got the best land going on the planet that we can shape our young men and women coming today. And that's what the rite of passage that I would like to do is actually use the land to empower the people that use it individually to then get the confidence and then go and take that back into their everyday life then. Well,
you seem to be like in a really good frame of mind. You're in incredible shape. Mentally, you seem like you're in a very good place. But you said something earlier about broken families, broken homes. You've been from that. You've had that. You was adopted, like you said, and you might have had a great upbringing and stuff, but it wasn't conventional, was it?
No.
And you've gone through that, and then you said about how you've been homeless and stuff. Do you want to talk us through, like, maybe first of all, like, how, was it difficult growing up? Like, what was?
Oh, growing up as a Jehovah's Witness in a mixed race family in West Wales, I was the lightest person in my family, but the blackest kid in school. And then obviously living on the edge of society because of the religious culture that I was being brought up with. So I had quite a really isolated upbringing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you can't confined in your family when you're being, because you're the lightest in the family, going into school. That's really tough, mate.
It was tough. It shaped the man that I am today. I said it to you earlier, Welsh cross country champion at 16. I'd come back, I'd come back to Cardiff as a young man and away to go and run in the streets we were doing down here. And then I'd be back in school in Clondallow on the weekend later running the mountains. So I was very blessed because the Jehovah's Witness side kept things clean, kept giving me morals, discipline. My old man, he was really he was in the 80s and they ruled with a hard stick. But it was always in the name of morality. So as much as it was hard and isolating, I always feel I was quite blessed as well. Because when I turned 16 and hit sex, drugs and rock and roll all in me one weekend, I realised this isn't for me. And that's when I was gone, I was off to the army, forged my mother's signature, poof. November the 16th, I walked out to school, and by January the 6th, I was there in the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. My mother was a Jehovah's Witness at the time. She was not happy. And in that moment, I lost everybody between that day because joining the army, the Jehovah's Witnesses weren't agreeing with that. But it's what I needed. And, the army then shaped the man that I am here today because it gave me that drive and knowing what I'm capable of because I've been there. I've been pushed to that limit and then being able to retract that and work within my own parameters rather than losing my temper all the time. I know what it's like to be at that 100%, lost your temper and learn to keep your focus during that time. That's what the army gives you, embodiment. So, it's really hard to promote the army because of the war, but the stature that you get from being in that as a man is great.
You probably only see the positives because you just missed going to Iraq, didn't you?
Missed it by a phone call. Well, I had the phone call. I was having keyhole surgery in the November and the Iraq war had just started then. So I didn't get to go. My son was not far coming from then, so I was out of the army. And as I shared to you, August 2004, I was out, and September 11th, 2004 is when my roommate, little Steve, bless his soul, thank you for his service.
Yeah, rest in peace.
It cost him his life. We shared a room together, and my life changed that year completely, you know. Being a father, it gave me a new drive, you know. I was adopted, didn't have that father, and I knew exactly what I wanted to be. I wanted to be there for my son. And, you know, that really changed where I was and directed that focus then.
Yeah, what did you do? Was you with your partner at the time then, was you?
No, Laura, we're still friends. We're good friends now, better now actually, after 22 years. You know, we had a hard time. We were young, dumb, partying. You know, life was very different back then. And when I came out the army, things really changed for me. I started fitting kitchens. So our relationship didn't last. But 4 years later, I had full custody of him. It took a while to get him, and I was just in a better position to be a better parent. It was nothing to do with her. I just had the right tools at the time and the right drive in order to support him in what he needed. And later on in life, as she's grown, she's done a great job as a mother because that pressure was taken off her and she was able to thrive. And Tyler's got 2 strong parents now around him. And he's given us a lovely grandchild as well, Noah. So,
Have you got just like the one kid, or?
No, I've got 4 kids altogether.
Same?
No, so Tyler was with Laura, and then I was married then, and I had 3 daughters with
So this
Jordan.
is the relationship where...
This is a relationship, they're
And
14 years
can
married.
you talk about any of that? Because I know that you've had, you know, this is what
Yeah.
led you to become homeless, isn't it?
Yeah.
So before this, was everything great at this time then? Very stable?
Life was me working as a father, providing.
Well, what did you do?
Kitchen fitting, so I did a lot of working away and doing what I thought being a good father was, putting money on the table, working really hard, trying to be there for my children, but not really because I was working so hard. And then lockdown came, right? Poof, overnight. And me and Tyler, because Tyler was working with me, just stopped work. We just went home. All of a sudden, it was nothing, right? Just time to be at home. And this is where the cracks within...
Was this the first time you and your partner or wife actually spent time together then, would you say?
Not so much actually, but the cracks of what of family
They've
life
grown over, yeah.
that you just get on and you don't see because, you know, you're too busy with your head down trying to provide. They came to life, and that's where the alcohol addiction and the drug addiction came to a life. And COVID was great because it really isolated things, and we was able as a family to try and rectify where she was. And
was that both of you on drugs, or?
Yeah, I'd taken recreational drugs.
Did you both have the problem during lockdown?
No, so her problem was prior to lockdown. It is what it is. Look, I came home that day to a drug dealer parked outside the house, and he was waiting for my paycheck, like, you know.
Wow.
And he'd been feeding my wife drugs while I was out working away throughout the week.
And he's come to pick up the paycheck off
He
you.
was counting my money. And
How did that feel, mate?
How did that feel? It made me feel like I was blind, man, to what was right in front of me. And lockdown really changed what being a father meant to me, because presence is the most important gift.
Yeah,
that
you're
we can
doing
have.
everything you can to make sure that they're okay, but actually your kids are being neglected, and she's got a problem.
Yeah, they weren't getting what they needed to do, and it was being made easy for her to slip down the slippery slope as well, right? And not that gives any excuse, but unfortunately, the bad things in life come easy, right? It's the good things that you need to do that come at a track. And, you know, it was a blessing for me because it's changed the trajectory of my life, changed the trajectory of 2 of my children, and not the other 2 yet. But that once I was able to see the addiction and realize that there was nothing that I could do about it.
Did you try?
I tried. Yeah, I tried. I tried to get her to go to rehab. Tried to make up my own rehab sort of. I tried everything. And
Googling stuff, and how was you?
yeah,
as,
you know, I
as
was
loved ones do.
I was a carpenter in a retreat centre, building that, and I tried to get her to go there for just to break the cycle, and it didn't work, man. And walking away from my family home, I'm not a quitter. You know, I dig in and dig in and dig in and dig in, but it came a point where the third time the police came to the house due to the kids phoning the police or the neighbours or what have you, I really had to look at myself and think to myself, you know, this isn't going to change. And I had to walk away in order for it to change. And walking away from my family at that time was the most hardest thing that I needed to do. But I was motivated to do it because I needed to show my daughters that if something goes wrong in their life and they're not acceptance of that they can always do something about it. And that was the motivation for me, was
Greater good.
yeah, you know, you need to show these girls that they just don't need to accept whatever they're given. If they don't like it and they don't need it, it doesn't matter how low or how much you start from zero, it can be done. And yeah, that's what I did. I made myself homeless. I left and left with my tools.
I know we won't dive too much into it because I know this isn't about targeting anyone or this ain't about anyone else. This is a positive thing, but I think it's relevant to how the adversity you've gone through and for others who might have gone through this or are going through this. But like you said as well, like it was domestic abuse, like you was a victim in a way, you said. Can you talk about any of that?
Male being victims. As men, do we even like to admit that, right?
But this is the problem we got, innit? You know?
You know, and it wasn't until the police came and what had happened, we'd had a row. She punched me in the face on the way out, jumped in a car and spun off, and the kids had phoned the police. And a female police officer come in, and I hadn't said this to her, but one of the kids had. And when she brought it up to me, you know, actually, are you all right? You know, you've been physically hit, you know. And then the phone call started to come afterwards to realise that actually that's not right. That's not okay.
It was actually your kids then who noticed it, and that's what made you realise, fucking hell.
It wasn't something that I brought to light. It was something that was brought to light to me. It was something that said, actually, you're a man and that's not okay for you to take care. Did that really happen? And it's like, yeah, actually it did happen. And like to play it down because, you know, I can take it. Well, actually, no, I don't need to take it. I need to share that actually that happened to me and might not physically hurt me, but it's mentally left a scar on me and my kids. And that's what then paved the opportunity and fair play to the council. It's wrong that it came to that, but because I was taken out of the house for domestic abuse, it then gave the council a responsibility to house me.
Well, fair play to the council for doing that and not just leaving you on the streets.
Yeah, no, you know, a lot of men on the streets, that if they're not on the streets because of the coming out of the army, they're on the streets because of domestic abuse, because they've left their family home, because they've walked.
Or because, yeah, it's that, and if they don't leave, they'll end up doing something, and they look like they're the bad ones then.
Yeah, and who's there to support them? I'm hold my hands up, I was lucky. I was taken into the Ibis Hotel in Swansea on
Fabian Way. I know.
Room 111, funny enough, if you like your numerology. Twin room for me and my kids. And yeah,
well, 1111.
And that's where the rebuild came. I had my tools, I had my daughter and my son with me, and say it was the lowest point. That Christmas was the lowest point for me, when I realised that I didn't have my kids, and you know, being what I thought a father was, my ex had played havoc Christmas Day. So I was meant to pick them up. I was going to bring them down to a restaurant in Cardiff to have food. That didn't turn out. So I ended up back in the hotel on my own Christmas Day. just buried my head under the pillow. And
Might as well be in a jail cell, mate.
exactly right. And I remember there was a knock on the door, and it was the police that come because nobody had heard from me. Nobody knew what they wanted to do. Nobody knew what had happened or what have you. I just buried my head and said, lucky for me, I'm not really a suicidal guy, but I know what low feels like, right? And I'm not afraid to just sit with that for 24 hours, go through that emotion, understand where you are, and then tomorrow's a new day. And I got kids leaning on me, and that's where Kaji come in there, man, with those fights, man, because it just gave me an avenue to, one, work on myself, to take out that anger and frustration on, not so much myself, but on a practice, on a training, on doing something that was then, I think the word is alchemy, taking that stress from within you and putting it out to something good, you know, and fighting for the awareness of male suicide, which Kaji was.
Did you ever feel suicidal, mate?
My answer to that is no, because I got a fight in me. I've got a, but I've been closer to what I would say people would say suicidal is.
So in hindsight, looking back, there's times there where you think, wow, it could have went.
I turn and face. If for me, if kamikaze was suicidal, I've been kamikaze a few times. But my kamikaze is about a fight for living rather than a fight for dying. And that doesn't take it away from anybody that's been in that scenario. But my story is what gives me that power. And my history of growing up and always having the ability to live on the fringe of a society and always being able to turn and look within for growth is something that I've been shaped by. I'm a product of that. And that's why I'm here. This is why I'm here now, because raising awareness on suicide, actually there's another option. When you know what you're capable of, then the world that is too heavy right now, you can break that down into manageable pieces. And this is the message that I'm looking to spread, that when that world is heavy and you can't cope, pick up the phone, go and see somebody, speak it out loud, and then, you know, break what's not 10 steps ahead? What's the first step I can do right now that's going to change the projection of my life, change that trajectory, you know? And that sliding doors moment, right? You go left, this happens, you go right, and it's not as easy as that, but it is. You know, a catalyst for change can be that, and that's what Kaji did. Picked up that phone call. Yeah, do you reckon you can do this? Yeah, I'll take that fight on.
Did you know him before this?
No, I didn't know Kaji. It was my cousin, Joe. He was a good friend of Kaji's, and they were short on somebody. And he went, I know somebody that would do that for you. He'd step in, no problem at all. Before I know it, that I was there. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll do that, right? And it just changed the directory of everything that I'm doing here today now.
Yeah. So you started, how long did you, before your first fight and stuff, how long did you have?
I think it was 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, 3 weeks. No, I don't even think it was that. I'm ex-forces, right? And I'm fitter than the average. I'm 42 now. I think I was 39.
You're 42?
I'm 42.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 42.
Wow.
I'm fitter than the average man. And for me, the fights was never about boxing. It was always about a measure of where I was at that moment in time and how could I progress myself. And so I didn't hit the boxing gym. I was training in a hotel, watching YouTube videos, learning. I couldn't even skip, man. My skipping was shocking at the time. And I just buried my head into learning how to be calm under pressure, you know, not homing in back on those army skills that I'd learned, you know, knowing how to get there and keep control. And now that's what filters out to the rest of your life, then, see?
Wow.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
How did you feel after you done that road rumble?
I was tamping. I lost the first fight. I was not happy at all. Jason Lukens, I love you, brother. Me and him, we still mad, innit? You get in the ring and you make so much friendships from it, like, you know, knock each other's heads off for 9 minutes, and then all of a sudden, best buddies afterwards, you know. And
Mad, innit?
man sharpens man. I think that's what I've learned over the last 18 months is you need to surround yourself by good men, right? You know, and then you also need to be around then for the other men that need to be brought up. And that's what's brought me to here now today is men's work as well. Man sharpening men, getting people, good men around each other to help bring up society. Because if Kaji hadn't created that opportunity, I wouldn't have been in a den full of lions who all want to take my head off. Yeah. And I wouldn't want to then progress myself to keep myself stable and be confident in the den of lions. I wouldn't be here now.
Yeah. Mate, it's truly inspirational, the fact that you've just dived into it and just...
Thank you.
And do you think that the doing the boxing really, it did take out, it kind of kept your mind occupied, but took you away from everything else when you was in that hotel? Wait. Did you have any other options? Like when you were in the hotel room, was you thinking about doing anything else, or did you just not know what you wanted to do?
My world was upside down. Everything that I'd ever fought for, believed in, just was gone. You know, yeah. I didn't know my ass from my elbow. But I knew me.
Yeah.
You know, and what it did do, it did keep me off the drugs. Did keep me off the alcohol. That was never an option, right? Because the catalyst for that feeling was the fight.
And yeah, so having that date in your head is like, I can't take drugs, I can't fuck about because I'm scared. Like
I'm doing this. Yeah. And again, that discipline, knowing that, well, I got to be in the best shape. I got to be the best version of me. Getting up and eating good food, getting up and training, or whether it's just press-ups and sit-ups in your bedroom, right? And before you know it, you're watching boxing videos. All of it, that's the content going into your brain, right? So
you're subconsciously starting to think and listen like an athlete, like a boxer.
Yeah, you're kickstarting all those what do they call it? The sparks in the brains from the right way. And when I did the first fight, I come back and I was signing up for my next one within 24 hours, you know, because it was never about the fight. It was always about that 3-month journey.
Everything else, yeah.
Yeah. And then before you know it...
The fight was the celebration, the graduation.
Yeah, you know, and it was never about hurting that person, or it was never
It could have been anyone.
It could have been anyone. Most of the time it was myself. You're fighting yourself in your own mind, you know. Yeah. The battle is with you inside.
How many fights have you done now with Road Rumbles?
3 with Road Rumbles I did, and 1 with Welsh Combat Series. Welsh Combat Series, yeah. That was a bit more of a step up. Probably a little bit more than I anticipated. But it was good fun as well, definitely. Yeah. I realised I wasn't a boxer in that one. And that's what led me to climbing then. Because you didn't get the impacts on climbing, right? You didn't get nobody trying to take your head off. And that's where you learn about yourself. But you talk about in a boxing ring, you got somebody coming at you, right? On the rock, when you're climbing.
The wall don't punch back.
It don't punch back, but I tell you what it does give you when you're tired, when you're scared, when you're hanging on for dear life, and you're halfway up a wall, there's only one person that can get you to the top, and that's you. Because the fear of falling and the fear of...
You all harnessed up and all, are you?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But it's still...
I'm not talking about solo roping. I'm talking about rock being as close to danger but as safe as possible. Setting up the rigs, having top ropes in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we're not talking about dropping to your death. You'll take a good bang, though, if you do drop. But you find out a lot about yourself on the wall. For sure. And
you've never done any of that beforehand. Obviously, you had your training in military, but the 10, whatever many years since, you didn't do any of that type of stuff.
Nothing at all. When I was in the hotel, good friend of mine, Jason Reese, my climbing buddy, he was struggling at the time to find a climbing partner. And he said, I want to do this. What do you think? I said, well, I've got nothing better to do. And that's all I did. That's how it started. On the back of a fag packet, right? As they say, the idea. And within 18 months, it changed my life.
That's mad, man.
Because I got the confidence in my own ability, right? When you're on the wall and you're 3/4 of the way up and you got the old Elvis hand going.
And he's got to look out for you then, is it? And vice versa.
The trust between you, because he's your belayer and he's got you on the other end of the rope. You know, the relationship me and him have built up. We're brothers, you know.
That's mad.
But the confidence I got in myself was second to none. Because when I was tired, when I didn't know which way to go, the only way is up to get back down, you know. And that feeling then when you get up and come down and think, oh my word, 3/4 of the way up there, I thought I was going. I was right. I was waiting for that fall, but I've made that crux move. I've got up and then I've come down. That flight system that we talked about earlier, it's done a full circle. You know, I've hit my flight system.
Yeah.
My adrenaline's peaked, but then I've completed the task and I've come back down. So my system's rested.
Yeah.
I've completed the full circle, and now not only that, I can tap back into that energy at any time. Then
Can you do that
with your memory?
Like for example, like when I was in jail on my first sentence, and you know, crack. Heroin's a physical addiction and psychological, but crack cocaine is psychologically. Anytime I'd be in jail and I'd think of crack and I'd think about smoking it, I would get like this sweaty, rushy feeling. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think it was Howard Marks who, when he was arrested, said he was put himself into a state of mind that he thought he was high, that he actually got high without smoking. Yeah. Would you say that's the same way you tapping back in about the feeling of...
The renewable energy source. So energy is heat, right?
Yeah.
The main source of energy is heat. And whether that's the sun, like wherever you get it from, we as humans are energy sources ourselves. And when you do a renewable energy source, when you do something that gives you flight or flight system, but then you conquer it and you complete that circle, that memory is then indigened into your head, right? It's imprinted into your brain. So you can be sat there now and just thinking back to something you did last week, the way you entered that flight or flight system and then you completed the circle. That's going to bring back all that emotion. It's going to bring back all that energy inside you, and it's going to pick up your spirit.
Do you think that's how people who go under trauma, that's how they suffer? Because it's triggering moments, isn't it? It's like they might have been raped or a witness, their family member get beat up, and they think about that time, and it's like bringing it all back, isn't it? They have panic attacks.
It's polarities, right? So how I'm resonating that for good, it works for bad, right?
Wow.
So PTSD, right? Somebody's walking down the road, the car goes bang, before they know it, they've triggered a memory back in their head.
When they were in a
and
war,
they're back to 10, it could be 10, 15 years ago. And it's as if it happened yesterday. Well, you can do that for good. Anything that we can do for bad, we can do for good.
It's always about negative stuff, isn't it?
We always as society at the moment, the focus is on the negative. And as you know, as soon as you flip that the focus on the positive, things change within you. Yeah. The gratitude, man, just saying how much you're grateful for 10 things every day. Instant, what that does for your mood. Smiling at somebody. Only small little things, but they cause chain reactions because they're positive. And that renewable energy source that's in there can be used just like it triggers. It can also be triggered for positive as well.
Amazing. Obviously, it seems like there's a lot of benefits to what you're doing right now. You've mentioned this rite of passage. I'm all for, helping people try and get their projects out there, ideas and stuff like that. So when I spoke to you the other day, when we first started speaking, you was actually busy because you was in the middle of doing one of these retreats. So what is it that you're doing? And what are you trying to achieve? What do you want us to help with? Is there anyone out there? Are we trying to appeal to the masses who want to do it? Is there some sort of support we can help with?
So there's two sides of this.
Okay.
We've got people who are able to afford to pay for their own well-being, and then there's people that can't afford to pay for their own well-being. And at this moment in time, I'm trying to get the ones that can't afford it. So Man Shield Ecotherapy is a CIC that's been set up in order to create a platform for people like within the community that can be able to have an opportunity to go on something like this rite of passage that I've come up with before they end up on the wall that Cuddy has put up. The idea is to be able to empower young men and women with this. How I've done it so far is by well-being. So through gorge walking, climbing, caving, the metaphors that you get and the challenges that you get through them. My book, The Mountain Within, gives you a reflective 52-week reflective practice that allows you to use the experience that you've been through that day and how that then resonates throughout your everyday life. So cut a little of an example. On the gorge, right, you got to jump. You're scared of heights, right? You really don't want to do that, right? You look over the edge, oh my word, you can feel all that feelings coming up inside you. You don't want to do it, but you do it. I take you over that because you watch me do it. You've got all of your safety equipment on you, so you know you're not going to die, right? You've just got to do it. And once you've done that, you look back, wow, look what I've just achieved. Well, how does that relate to my everyday life? Well, you wake up in the morning and you've got that resistance, that feeling, that tension. Oh, I don't want to go to work today, or this challenge that is in my life is too much for me to bear. Well, through the principles that you learn through conquering that, through ecotherapy, through breath work, through the confidence of knowing actually I can step forward and I can rise to this challenge, it allows you then to take that confidence into your everyday life and start hitting your challenges one step at a time. So what am I looking for? To raise awareness, really. Raise awareness that for these mental charities that are out there and other men's circles or even female circles that are out there, is let's raise a pot of money that is there, not just for circles, but for actionable change, where we can actually get people out in our communities to say, actually, die down the corner. I know he's struggling at the minute. I tell you what, as a community, let's send him to the rite of passage where I can then give him the
like a crowdfund type of thing.
Crowdfund, this sort of thing is in my speciality. How to raise that pot of money or pot of gold, then I have no idea. But they're the people that need it, right?
Well, this is the funny thing, and they say money can't buy happiness. And it can't, really. But a lot of these people who are on these big courses, these big retreats, are people with money who are paying for their well-being. But we also know that there's a lot of people who don't have money, who don't have the freedoms to be able to afford to do these things. And these are the people who are struggling more than ever. Yeah. These are the people who feel like they are worthless. These are the people who need this type of stuff to inspire them and push them to become successful and have a bit of money. So I get it. And I think it's important that we raise that. And, you know, if there is a way that, you know, I don't know, I'm just checking this out. Even if there's a way that they can get on it through some sort of like, you know, they don't pay, but it's covered through something else. And, you know, or you've covered your target for that retreat through other, you know, bodies or other people who have joined it, and this person here gets on, you know, there's a spare space for someone, and those type of things, isn't it?
I tell you a direction, because we've empowered our local GPs at the moment to make decisions. So instead of our GPs writing you a prescription,
refer them to this thing and pay them, innit?
Refer them to me.
It's a no-brainer.
And I tell you what, I guarantee that you send somebody to me that's not feeling themselves, got
You'll
all
make
that
them feel good, like.
within a week of doing this, and then the ongoing practices that they can learn, because breath work is free, right? When I'm struggling, I can breathe free. All I need to know is how to breathe in order to relax my nervous system. Or if I need to pick my nervous system up, there's different breath works that we can do for that. And this is all information based, right? Well, if you don't know how to do these things, then
We were never taught these things, were we, in
Exactly,
school?
so-
These are the basic necessities, the fundamentals, I think. Why, we know everything about so many things that are quite irrelevant in our lives, but we don't even know what our body is made of. We don't know what this bone is. We don't know what that bone is. Some of us do, but we don't know the structure of us, who we are. And that's the most important, basic thing we should know is our bodies, right?
Well, and breath. We all breathe. And one of the, it's been one of the key tools that have changed my life, breath work. One, clearing the fog. And then two, going deep into breath work is the therapy that I've been able to sort out in my own head with the right support and with the right trainer as well and facilitator to do that. But that is just something, I haven't had to pay for that, right? I've just had to learn that practice. And my Rite of Passage weekend will be able to give those tools in order to give people then a fighting chance to strengthen themselves. So it's not me saying that I'm going to change their lives. What I'm saying is I'm going to be able to present them with the tools that they will be able to then empower themselves in order to help change their lives. You can only take the horse to water. They're going to have to learn to drink it themselves. But with the effect of conquering the flight to fight system and the joys that they get from the ecotherapy and running the land, that drive, that catalyst for change, followed with the tools, is a better chance than it is than taking...
Prescribing some sertraline for a couple of weeks.
And it's all here in Wales, right? It's all on our doorstep. And it's free for us all to... I say the land is free for us all to use. Obviously, the instruction isn't free. But the land is there for every one of us as citizens and kids of the children of
and
the
I
earth.
assume it's something that you do that after someone's done it once anyway, they could probably go about with their life to do
More, yeah.
with themselves. And
Their own investment in how or picking up a hobby is up for them. And the ongoing practices will be for them. Just like when you have a line and you want to have a next line because of how it makes you feel. This is what ecotherapy is. The idea is that when you replace that adrenaline rush with a good source, then instead of looking for the bad source, you're going to want to pick up the good source again.
so this is so you're actually doing this now. So the course you're doing, it's already done, yeah?
I'm qualified now.
Yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
it. Like, it's just now just trying, you want to help people who are less fortunate to get involved. Like,
I've got my first retreat next week. I've taken 8 men. They've all paid to be on the course. And my motivation is great for them. And they're definitely the people that I want to help out
those
as well.
who put money into it as well, don't they? They want to, that they want to be,
They want to be there, right?
it's investment. Yeah.
It's their
They
personal
want to make the
investment.
most out of it.
But not everybody's got that money to pay. And finding an avenue in order to get within our community, within my community,
agree.
is what I want to do. And is the help that I'm looking for. This isn't just me against the world. This is let's raise the standard of our community as a community. So I'm looking at reaching out to the communities of Wales to find a pot in order to help the young men and women within that community that need to know what they're capable of in order to give them the strength to fight their battles for every day.
What was the one I really liked? The one you said you'd done and it's like it's so profound, that metaphor of, your highest and your lowest.
So last year me and Jace did the highest point of the UK to the deepest cave in 24 hours to metaphor the highs and lows of a man's life. So we drove up to Scotland, run up Ben Nevis and back down in, I think it was 3.5 hours. Then drove through the night then, right, back down to South Wales. And they opened up Ogof Ffynnon. So it's a 47-kilometre labyrinth in Wales. And the cave rescue guy took us down there for 3.5 hours. So we hit the deepest cave in the UK. I think it was 21.5 hours. We tried to get awareness out of it, but, it didn't work out. I'm not a media man, right? But it's never been done, right? So I'm one of 2 men that have ever been to the highest point and the deepest cave in the UK.
What does that do with, does the body, does that affect the body?
It affects the mind more than anything, because you're up in Ben Nevis and you've got the landscape and it's awe-inspiring, and then you're in the cave, right? And it's black, and you've just got the mind. If you go into the mind, you've had it. You know, the only way out of the cave is to keep out of your mind and to keep in your body, and those thoughts of, it's claustrophobic, I can't move, it's too tight.
I
shit,
dive
what am I
straight
gonna
into the
do?
mind with stuff like that, mate.
I'm telling you, I really
But
found
how
out
do
what
you
I'm
do that? Like, how do you, is there a strategy for that? Because, you know, like rides and stuff, I go on a ride, it's going to crash like a stone.
Breathwork. Just breathwork. It's a simple thing that you can do. You just did it there now. You sighed, right? And in that moment, you took a deep breath in and you released it. You did that subconsciously. That's your body relieving that stress. Just thinking about in the cave, that's what your body did naturally, right? So now that I know that, when I'm in those moments, I just bring it back to conscious awareness of breathing. Just breathe in with intention, you know, take a nice 4-second breath in and elongating the breath out for 6 seconds. It's naturally going to calm my heart down, right? Instantly, I'm back in. When I'm thinking about my breathing, I'm back into present moment, because instantly I'm not thinking about shoulda, coulda, woulda's, because I'm concentrating on my breathing.
And how did you feel like when you, like, was there anything profound about it when you came out of that deep, dark cave after being so high up in such a short space of time?
I had a panic attack in the night when I watched the footage back. It's safe in my own bed. I actually did better in the physical than I did watching it back, because the anxiety of watching me in that position on a YouTube.
So is it very small? Like, were you crawling or walking?
Yeah. At one point, we had to do a roll, because you couldn't crawl. All you could do was roll over between where the rock was coming down. You know, claustrophobia is one thing.
And the only way back out is that way again.
It's the way you come, right? Yeah. So you just got to keep going forward. Turning around isn't an option. It's the full circle. And that's what I found out that I really love about myself, is that ability to actually keep going.
Yeah, because you've been in. Did you go in a cave where you was quite like?
Yeah, I said to you.
Was it that one or another one?
No, this was another one, because I'm doing my cave lead now to carry on this. And so last week we went into Darren Agi, which is in the Merthyr Valley. It's 21 kilometres, and we went off.
Is that deep to go in the ground, or is it just like in a
So
cave?
it's about 350 metres under sea level.
Okay. What under sea level?
Under sea
so
level.
wait a minute. The level of Merthyr's a couple of thousand feet above sea level anyway.
So yeah, Merthyr about 300 feet above sea level.
All right, so you're going back to the level of the sea and down.
Down again, right, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And we had the maps and everything, so we took a wrong turning in the cave, and it took us an hour to work out where we was, and then realised that we had an hour to get back to where somebody might even be able to find us. And it was, you can imagine, panic, right? Holy shit, if something happens in here, we're in a world of trouble. But again, bringing it back to conscious breath and the ability to know that you're capable to handle in this situation, and the severity of the situation is only the perception you give yourself. So I make it feel worse, because actually nothing really bad has happened to me at this moment in time. I'm just off track. And with conscious breathing, good teamwork around us, we turned around, we were back on track. Now that was a good feeling. Just getting back inside the cave to where we knew people knew where we was. We were still 2 hours away from the exit of the cave, but to know that people knew where we were, if they needed to come finding us, that was exuberating. That was the feeling inside of just knowing, actually, I'm not safe, but if something does happen, I am safe, because somebody knows where I am. Again, it's just the perception that you give
And
yourself.
what kind of caves are they? Are they like walking caves? Are they?
No, we're talking crawling, yeah. So these caves are not accessible to public. You've got to go through cave rescue to get in there. And then you do go through training to take people, to be able to take people in there. But that's what I love, right? It's the challenge. And then it gives me the confidence in the week when I'm struggling in the house, because I'm nobody special, right? I've got bills to pay. I'm a single father, council tax bills flying up, not enough work coming in really to meet the ends meet, and I feel under pressure sometimes. And do you know, when that pressure does come in, it's the same pressure I get, as the feeling in my body is the same as when I'm in the cave. And what do I know already when I'm in the cave? I know I can get out of it, right? So just feeling into that pressure in everyday life and knowing that actually there's light at the end of the tunnel, excuse the pun, it gives me the confidence to just keep going in life and dragging whatever I need to along with me.
Yeah, it is beautiful, mate, to think about that. And, you know, I assume that's how you live your life now, day to day, is...
Yeah, it's embodying everything that I said. The financial will catch up, I'm pretty sure. But my quality, I feel 10 years younger than what I did 10 years ago. Because I'm living in more alignment. I'm living with more integrity to who I am. Living within my means, if I'm being honest as well. And also giving back. My purpose is, you know, the reward I get from watching somebody go over the edge abseiling and they've never done it before, and that fear in their eyes, and then that exuberation that they have at the bottom. That's money can't buy that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why, you know, that's what makes me get up in the mornings and the drive to keep going.
Just for the people before we go as well, like, because you was homeless for a while, anything you learned from that, and is there any inspiration you could say to anyone who's probably homeless right now?
Yeah, keep going. Home is a funny thing, because home is where you lay your heart is. If I'm being honest, life was easier in the hotel. Because in the hotel, I didn't have bills to pay, I didn't have council tax, and then I had my home, and then the responsibility that comes with the home. So I'm not saying that not having a home is easier or less. What I'm saying is home is here. Home is inside you and inside me. And if I'm able to be comfortable with nothing, then all of a sudden you'll be able to achieve whatever you want, because you've got nothing to lose, right? And a man with nothing to lose is a very, 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 very dangerous man. And I don't mean dangerous as a killer, but I mean dangerous as an operator.
Achieve anything.
He can achieve anything, right? And just that positive belief, actually, I'm homeless, I'm alive, and I now have the ability to do whatever I have to do to get what I want. And I would pass that message on to anyone. People are searching for the nomad lifestyle right now. People want to get off grid, right?
Oh, mate, I would
right?
love to. I would love to, mate. Honestly, I would love to get off grid, mate.
So, you know, anybody that's homeless, you know, I hope they can get a warm bed and a dry space for the night, because that's most important, and warm food in their belly. But the actual focus of being homeless, your home is Wales.
Yeah.
You know, you know, or wherever your country, wherever you are, the earth is our home. It's not the house that we live in. It's the planet that we live on. We are, you know, this is our home.
Kalonji, absolutely love it, mate. Like, thank you for coming and sharing your story.
Me.
Yeah, no, mate. Honestly, it's been really, really eye-opening, inspirational.
This is going to be the catalyst. I can feel it now. That's going to.
Do.
If it only helps save one life.
Yeah, mate.
It stops one life. Somebody taking
just
that
from
one
watching
chance.
it, people will. Hopefully, people will be able to get involved. Though that's what we want, mate. You know, and
I believe that will come.
Yeah.
And until then, I'll be doing what I need to do, and my phone, my social media is there for any man to reach out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just say men, because women, we live in an equal society, and women need to do the same. But for men, that's the first step, is to be able to pick up the phone, poke somebody on Facebook, whatever the way that is, and realise, yeah, it's tough, but you're not on your own. The first step, the toughest step, is to reach out to somebody.
How can people reach out to you on social media?
I've just opened up my platform so it's public, something I've never done before. There's an easy way to do that. And there's local communities within our communities that people need to be able to be aware of. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to start spreading more awareness that people can do that.
If someone did want to message you privately or social media, what is your handle?
Yeah, so Calon G Ford, that's my name on Instagram.
Okay.
K, obviously with a K.
Kalonge.
Yep.
Ford,
And there's, if the charity itself...
Is Ford with an E or with the...
Ford with an E, is Man Shield Ecotherapy CIC. And that's an actual web page that is set up. And it's CIC that's there. And there's a little responses there, how people will get back to you on that. Type it in, find out where we are, and you know, reach out to see what you can get, and we'll definitely provide something.
Brilliant. What we do with all our guests to finish off, your camera's there. If you could look down the camera and leave them with a positive message, please.
Positive message is rise authentically and live authentically. Tomorrow is a new day. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay central.
The Central Club.